Michelin Pilot Challenge paddock with MMR guys Nate Schuster, Robert Noaker. Nate, first full season here with Michelin Pilot. Obviously did a lot of starts the last couple of years and even achieved a win. What's kind of expectations for this year and going to some tracks you haven't driven the GT4 at?
Yeah, obviously going to some new tracks, like you said, just trying to get used to them in the GT4. It's kind of the same thing as last season, trying to learn those tracks, and we're pretty successful at those. So trying to carry that momentum from last year into this one and try and go for a championship.
Right, Robert, this year, first full season of GT4, you did a one-off start last year. How much are you going to be able to lean on Nate and some of your other Ford race and driver development boys like Sam and Jensen?
Yeah, it's really already started, a couple months ago, once we were trying to put this all together, and, me and Nate have raced against each other in the past in other series, and, just doing all the simulator stuff, being able to lean on Nate through that of, what, just correlating from the sim to real life of what's, actually capable of the real car when we're in the sim, and, and also just being able to lean on each other here at the track, just through practice, like we find obviously every person has a weakness and stuff they're better at. So, we both have that. We're both leaning on each other for that. And, so far it's going great.
Now, Robert, I'll start with you. Obviously, last year, I don't see a broom around here, but we need to go ahead and hand it to you. I mean, every single session last year that we saw you in the Michelin Pilot, or Mustang Challenge, you swept it. I mean, fastest in every session. I don't think anybody else could have done that out of that whole entire class, obviously. I mean, you proved it last year. But how do you kind of translate that speed from last year into this season?
Yeah, it's the nice thing with this Mustang platform is the chassis are all the same. So that center section, comes off the assembly line in Dearborn, just like every street Mustang does. So, jumping from the challenge car to the GT4, the driving characteristics are the same. There's no learning curve to go through, like other manufacturers might have using different platforms and different classes. So, yeah, it's a pretty easy change car-wise, but obviously the competition is completely different. Mustang Challenge is a one make, so you're only racing against similar cars. To where this, it's every manufacturer is different. Their strengths and weaknesses around the track. Obviously the Mustang strong suit is straight line speed with that American horsepower. So, yeah, it's definitely an experience this weekend here at the Roar, just trying to familiarize myself with all the different manufacturers and just trying to prep myself for when it comes to race time.
Right, and Nate, like you say, obviously Wyman already said it. You came on last year, about middle of the way through the season. Don't really know if you learned more comedy from Jensen or if you learned more about a race car from Jensen and learn more skill. But kind of explain that teammate last year that you had with Jensen and how you can carry that over to mentoring to Robert.
Yeah, obviously Jensen's a super funny guy, so learned about an equal bit of both. Actually, probably moving in with him, moving to Charlotte, trying to be a little bit closer with Ford, utilize their simulator that they have. So learned a ton from Jensen. He's been in the program for since 2023. Started the program basically with the team, so obviously had a lot of experience. Learned a lot from him. Just series rules and the racing that was so different to the MX-5 Cup that I was used to. So. Learn a lot from him and try and carry that into this year. And Robert and I will learn more together. Try and be okay.
Speed is there this weekend. We've seen it over the last 2 days. The Roar is just a testing weekend, but how good is it to see that y'all are quick this early and we're still a week out from tomorrow, next week's race?
Yeah, it's great. I think we're worried more about having a car that really handles well than the lap times. You don't exactly know what programs everyone is on, whether high fuel runs, new tires. So, we're just trying to have a car that handles good, and we'll go from there.
How do you think about that from your perspective, Robert?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing as what Nate just said. Just making sure the infield is where we want it for the car. The straight line speed kind of takes care of itself with the Mustang platform. So it's just at the end of the day, trying to beat the other competitors, other manufacturers through the infield, and just have a car that will be raceable the whole way through a stint, even when the tires go off. To still be able to have a car underneath us to be able to go get a win.
And obviously, like you say, the speed's there and everything. We have a great history with you guys, so obviously we want to wish y'all great luck for next week and everything. And I know Wyman will be here next week. I won't be, but good luck to y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank y'all for coming on Speedway Post Media with Robert Noaker and Nate Cicero. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.